Yeah, well, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so Russia is helping Italy. Good news. Okay. Anything else with coronavirus for this week? Something new?
And USA is the third country where people are infected, so and died. So the third.
The third country. Which country is this? The third country. What do you mean saying the third?
I mean, so in Italy there are a lot of people who died of the coronavirus, with the coronavirus. So and I'm who's the second, but the third nowadays is USA. So a lot of people who are infected.
The number of people died and infected.
Yeah.
The US. Okay. Yeah. Okay, that's also the news. Any other ideas? That's nice, Susan. Okay. Any other ideas about coronavirus and what is happening at this moment with coronavirus?
Also, the last country in Europe also infected. It's Montenegro in Europe.
Okay. Yeah, well, it's a little tiny country, Montenegro,
yes.
that's also infected. Okay, that's also nice. Any other ideas? Any other ideas from one of the Elizabeths, from Lina, or from Angelica? No? Or, well, anything else? Okay, well, to finish, to summarize the ideas about coronavirus. First, in my opinion, well, it is very important to understand that during this week, Russia is, well, step by step going on quarantine, as you can understand. And that one of the reasons is that we are making our class via Zoom. And for example, in all Russian universities, in all Russian educational systems, there are no classes, only classes are online. This one issue. The second is, one by one, in Russia, we are closing everything, and also sometimes there is a panic. I don't know whether you heard that in Russia, we're trying to buy all the grechka, the black wheat. Have you been in the supermarkets during this week?
Yes.
Have you seen,
Yes.
have you seen
Unfortunately.
grechka there?
Yes.
A little bit.
A little bit. But also, well, maybe you have seen some news about that Russians are buying grechka, rice, and other issues which can be saved for a long time. So it's also an issue. Okay. So another moment is that the quarantine measures in other countries like Italy and Spain, they are more strict, and they become more strict during this week. So people, for example, in France, they can't go outside from the home without a special permission, without a special paper document where they explain why they are why are they going out on the street. So, for example, to go out to buy medicine, to buy, I don't know, toilet paper or something, they need some kind of permission, some kind of a paper to go there out. So the measures are more strict in some countries like Spain, France, and Italy, for example, and they are becoming more strict. Clear? Questions? Okay, for those who have come, if you have any questions to me, you can write in the chat. You can find a chat bar and start typing if you want to ask some question from me. Clear? Okay, wonderful. So also you can use some, reactions like this one or this one, if you want to attract my attention to you, and applauds, or like putting this way, or you can just show with yourself, but to attract my attention. Yeah, wonderful. Did you have any classes through the video conferences during this week?
Yes.
Yes. So how was it?
It was okay, I think.
It was okay. Well, wonderful. And anybody else? Anybody else? So nobody else had any classes online during this week?
No, but our teacher said that we will have English classes online, but on Skype.
But on Skype. Okay, wonderful. Because, well, frankly speaking, it is the first class that I'm giving through this system. But the next week in RAN-Higgs, where I also give classes, they asked me to do via Zoom. So I'm like testing this program on you. So thank you. Well, you test rabbits of my in my small laboratory. Okay, so well, one issue about coronavirus that I think should be interesting for you is the issue that there is a kind of change in the way how Western media looks at Russia and China because of coronavirus. Have you noticed the difference on the way these countries cover Russian and Chinese measures on coronavirus? No? No? So, oh, Susan, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, just do you mean about authoritarian regime and democracy?
Yeah. I mean that. Well, how they cover it, how they cover situation with coronavirus in China and Russia, and what conclusions do these countries do because, well, of the situation in Russia and in China?
So they say that in China and Russia, it is better to fight against the coronavirus because they are authoritarian regimes, and the coronavirus demonstrates that democracy fails. So something like that.
Yeah. Polina, you want to say something?
No, but I think China is more close country, and I think China is doing they want, but not covering it in the mass
In
media.
media.
Yes, like Russia or other countries.
Okay, so well, Susan summarized the issue in a brief way. I also wanted to show you, the small, not small, an article that we can find in Bloomberg. So it is quite. So where is my chart? Can you see the Bloomberg?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Wonderful. Okay. So this is Bloomberg. Whether China get it right, it's a and they are writing about the issue. Well, exactly the same things that they have more. They can use more measures that can't use countries like European countries and other countries like. Well, I will send you the link to you. And also today I have seen an article of CNN, Russia coronavirus, about the same issue, but speaking about Russia. Why does Russia, well, about that we are doing well with coronavirus. And the most important and interesting issue is that, well, during the last 2 or 3 years, Russia was heavily criticized by all these media because of our authoritarian issues and because of our bad, as they said, international behavior. So now they, well, for some reason they say, well, they conclude that in some ways maybe Russia and China, because of their political system, they are prepared to coronavirus, to these problems better than democratic countries as well. Susan summarized it in a brief way. Well, so I have sent the links for these articles to our group chat. So, well, I don't know whether you have received them. Could you see this chart?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, okay, wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, so finishing with the coronavirus, what else has happened in the world? Or you want to continue the issue of coronavirus? God bless you, Elizabeth. Okay, anything else happened in the world during this week? Nothing.
I had my hair cut.
Well, this is the most important news. I can understand. It's wonderful. Well, it's like, you know, Russian video blogger Artem Lebedev.
Yes, he's my favorite Russian video blogger.
Yeah. Well, the most important news of this week. Yeah, it's this thing.
He linked me and the mod in his Instagram story.
Wonderful.
Yes.
That's an achievement. That's totally an achievement. Wonderful. Okay, Matvey, you also want to say something?
No,
Okay.
Я подтверждал его слова, что это правда.
Well, thank you for the confirmation. So he's not a liar. That's wonderful. Okay. Anybody else wants to say something, Victoria, about the world top stories? Something is happening in the world besides coronavirus.
There are a lot of coronavirus, and I can't find something without it.
Not only coronavirus. Yeah.
Yes.
In USA also, Joe Biden is leading.
Joe Biden is
On the first place.
is on the first place. Where?
In president's президентской гонке.
Well, it's not a president campaign till this moment.
Yes.
So
yes,
it is. What is it?
I can't.
Well, there is the whole computer in front of you, and you can't see it. Okay. Any ideas what is going on in the politics of the United States at this moment?
Primaries is continuing.
Yeah, that's Paulina. That is primaries.
Yes.
So, well, I will. Wonderful. Okay. Well, those who make posts in chart, you have to understand that everybody reads it. Okay, so just for you. So primaries, my friends, primaries as always, but is continuing, well, winning primaries till this. So, well, as however, what's new? What's the problem with Biden, for example, at this moment? Did you notice anything? No? Okay. The case is that there are rumors about Biden that he is like having problems with his mental health because he's too old, and maybe there will be problems for him to be a president because he's too old. And some cases like that he is confusing people and saying something strange during the presentations and the discourses. So that's one of the problems for the American politics and American life for the future. So the best candidates they could find for the president campaign. Okay. So, okay, primaries, Biden. Okay, wonderful. That's nice. Anything else, my friends?
Financial crisis is coming.
Financial crisis is coming. Why?
After the agreement, no, after the, so the Russia don't agree with the OPEC, the group, and that is why we have some problems in financial situation. So and maybe, Yeah,
Okay.
and maybe some skeptics say that it will be something like economical crisis or something like that, and ordinary people will lose a lot of money.
Okay, so it's a global financial crisis, or where?
No, I think global because also because of the coronavirus.
Okay,
So
okay, yeah,
coronavirus, this agreement, etc.
yeah. Okay, okay. Well, that's prognosis. But well, that can be a big news and a big story. However, what there is a thing that has happened, frankly speaking, today. It is the case that today there was an earthquake, very strong earthquake in Croatia. Who said in Croatia? So there are wonderful photos about not wonderful, but there are some photos of the buildings destroyed in Croatia because of the earthquake, for example, like this. Can you see the car?
Yes.
Yeah, wonderful. Wonderful modern technologies helping us. So earthquake of magnitude of 5.3 struck north of Zagreb, which is the capital of Croatia. If I'm not mistaken, there aren't a lot of people who, till this moment, any information about people who died. But people went out of the buildings, waiting for investigation. Well, for example, these photos of what has happened. So Croatia earthquake for today, also a big news that is going on in the world. Okay, well that is what I wanted to add. Also, let's look what the BBC News is telling us about the world and what they propose us for as the world top stories on their first page. So my computer is working. So coronavirus, as you can see Italy, Australia, earthquake. So almost everything is about coronavirus, my friends, and the earthquake in Croatia. So, anything else. Frankly speaking, it's true. So, my friends, any questions till this moment about the situation, about the world top stories, about anything? Okay, so wonderful. As I promised to you, this class, I wanted to continue the issue of China and the issues that are related with the world. For the world stories, for the international journeys related to China. So, as I showed you, China attracts a lot of attention at this moment, also because it was the first place of where the coronavirus was found. So that's why a lot of attention is paid to China, to the situation of China. Okay, so but it is relatively new issue. However, you have to understand that most of the diseases and epidemics that were in the past, they came also from China. Do you know any other epidemics that came from China during the last 15, 20 years? Does anybody remember? No. Okay, so there was a bird flu, SARS, swine flu, and what else? And atypical pneumonia. So all these diseases started by some circumstances, I don't know why, nobody knows why, in China, and then they passed to other countries during the last 10, 15 years as coronavirus. So as I also promised to you, so we'll continue to speak about China, and I will tell you about the most, well, why China, what issues are important in China, and can attract a lot of our attention, well, related, well, why it can be related and important for us. So, can you see a slide with China at this moment on your screens? Yep.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So China, my friends. So as you can understand, China has a lot of problems at this moment in the world arena. So I also want to well, where is my chart? Too many issues. So if you will have any questions, you can write in the chat, and I will try to answer on this on your questions. Okay? Okay.
Yes.
Wonderful. So, China. As you can understand, there are a lot of problems with China in international arena, and there are a lot of issues why China is covered by media. So, during the next decades, there will be some issues besides coronavirus and besides diseases that will be covered by media and related to China. So, in my opinion, it will be useful for you to understand some of these issues. So, for example, the most important issues are territorial claims. Who did that? Don't draw on my presentation. So, territorial claims. First of all, so then there are different political systems inside one China. So it is the case of Macau and Hong Kong. And there are two other situations, that is Taiwan, and trade war with the US. So I am also writing in chart some most important points, so you can read them. So, frankly speaking, one of the most important issues in China, and the thing that attracts a lot of attention, is territorial claims and disputes between China and China's neighbors. Well, the case is that China has territorial disputes with almost all neighbors, of China. So China has territorial claims with India. I hope you see my mouse on your screen. So with India, with a tiny country, Bhutan, with Vietnam, with Philippines, with Malaysia, with Japan, and with South Korea. With almost all the countries, China has some border conflicts. China does not have border conflicts with one big country. Can you guess what country?
Russia.
Wonderful. Well, so your name is?
Pavel.
Pavel, wonderful. I unfortunately, there is your nickname English speaker, but there is no, so, I don't know why. So Pavel is correct. Russia does not have territorial claims, disputes at this moment with China. But whether China and Russia had territorial disputes, my friends, an open question.
During the history?
Well, in the past, yeah, during the history. Any guesses?
With China?
With China, yeah. Did we have any territorial disputes with China?
There was a war before, before the Second World War.
Yeah, there were some territorial claims and disputes with China before the Second World War. And after the Second World War, we have problems with China about the border and the land. Well, Susan, and those who attended my last class, unfortunately, I told you that we had that problem. It was a tiny peninsula, Amansky, which was situated somewhere here. And we had that territorial dispute with China till the middle 2000s. But in the middle of 2000s, in 2005, if I'm not mistaken, it was resolved by Putin, who gave this tiny island of 2 or 3 square kilometers to China. And now we don't have any territorial disputes with China. Clear?
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So, okay, wonderful. Okay, so from time to time in the past, after the Second World War, China had some kind of small wars with all these neighbors, with India, with Bhutan, with Vietnam, not with Japan, but from time to time there is stories in the media that are covered by the media that there is a kind of a standoff between China's military and the military of other countries. So let's explore these border conflicts of China. So, well, one of the biggest territorial problems China has is a problem with India. The case is that China has not one territorial problem with India, but even 2 territories with the dispute. So it is normally called Sino-Indian border disputes, as you can see on the slide. So does anybody knows why Sino? What does mean Sino word means? So, well, India is India, clear?
Mhm.
And what does Sina means this? No ideas. Well, Sino is China. But Sino is China in Latin language. And Sino is used only as prefix. So when you say a conflict between Russia and China, you, in English, you say Sino-Russian conflict. Clear?
Yeah.
So it's a prefix used
Yes.
in the English language. So a little bit of exploration of the English language. Okay, so China has 2 conflicts with India about border. So first one is here on, well, on the most northern part of India. As you can see, the red part of the red round showed one here. And another one is here, which is a little bit less problematic, but also is a dispute. So let's explore these 2 issues. So the first one, which is more important, is a conflict with about the, oh, what the hell is this? Ah, well, here. So it is the conflict which is not a conflict only between India and China, but it is also a conflict between India and Pakistan. The case is that it is conflict over the state, which is called in India, Jammu and Kashmir. Here is the map. Can you see it? Can you read, my friends? Okay, wonderful, thank you. Thank you, Lena, for showing me this wonderful big, okay, wonderful. What else? Okay, so the case is that before 1947, India and Pakistan, they were a colony of Great Britain. Then they received independence, but India and Pakistan, they didn't want to live in one country, and they wanted to create their own separate countries, and they separated. Pakistan is predominantly Muslim country. And India is predominantly Hinduistic Hinduistic country. So they separated because of the religious differences. Clear?
Yes.
Wonderful. I hope that it is. However, the borderline was drawn by the British administration, and everything on this borderline was wonderful. So, for example, there is no question about all this part of the land, as you can see. However, this part, big problem, because both India and Pakistan say that this territory, so all this territory should be part of or India or Pakistan, and they were fighting a war between each other. Clear? However,
Yes.
while India and Pakistan were fighting each other, China also said that we have rights for this tiny land and for this tiny land.